Hello there, welcome back to my second channel, welcome back to Jack in the Books. Today, as I record this, it is the 1st of March, which means it is time to tell you which books I want to read in this fine month. Now, a bit of context, I'm currently in New York City, and that is definitely going to be a theme in the books that I want to read. I think at least half of them take place in this city. So let's go through them. Actually, first, let's do audiobooks. So I've been using the Libby app, which is basically like you can load your library card onto it, and then you can just borrow audiobooks in the same way that you can borrow normal books from the library. So you have to like queue up. In fact, for my first book, which I just started this morning, Spare by Prince Harry, I was actually in the queue for I've been in the queue since the beginning of January, so for a little while. So the library basically has like a limited copy of each of the audiobooks, and people can borrow them, and then when they return them, you can have them. So I was like 3,000th in line for this book. Like, this was a popular book. Am I mad that I missed the boat on making content about this book? Yes, fuming, because I wanted to make content about this book, but I was away when it came out, so I couldn't get a copy, and by the time I got home from that trip and my copy arrived, everyone else had already made the videos on it, and I was like, there's nothing left really to say. I made you a video on celebrity memoirs in general, and then maybe I can add something to the conversation, but right now, I'm listening to this book. I started it on my morning run this morning, so I'm only like 13% of the way through the book. But the other audiobooks that I have a hold on, which should be coming to me in the next couple of weeks. Oh, just one. It's Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. I've heard that this is a really great celebrity memoir, one of the best. Generally, that's what people say, and I want to know if they're telling the truth. I really like listening to memoirs narrated by the people who wrote them. So, especially because Matthew McConaughey is an actor, obviously, I think that the way that he narrates his audiobook will be very fascinating, in the same way that I thought Jeanette McCurdy narrated her audiobook so gorgeously. It's very immersive, very captivating hearing someone telling their own story. So that's why I generally listen to memoirs as audiobooks. So now moving on to physical books. Firstly, my first kind of New York City based book, this is, oh, I'm holding upside down. This is Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi. This is about two sisters, one of whom has cancer, and I think it's just about the different situations that they each get themselves into, and then also their bond as siblings, which I think, as someone with one sibling, I think this will be very fascinating to read. Flung together by circumstance, housing woes, and family secrets, will the sisters learn more about each other than they're willing to confront? And what if, while helping June, Jane has to face the fact that maybe she's sick too? So I'm definitely like bracing myself for the fact that these sisters are called Jane and June. At least they spell Jane with a Y, so then at least visually they look very different. So hopefully that's not too confusing when reading this book, but let me know if you've read this. Did you get confused by the very similar names of the two characters? That feels like something my little brain is gonna struggle to handle. Woo! We'll see. The next book is this one. This is Mouth to Mouth by Antoine Wilson. A struggling author is stuck at the airport, his flight endlessly delayed. As he kills time at the gate, he bumps into a former classmate of his, Jeff, who is waiting for the same flight. The charismatic Jeff invites the author to drinks in the first-class lounge, and there, swearing him to secrecy, begins telling him the fascinating and disturbing story of his gilded life, starting with a pivotal incident from his youth. I think this could be really interesting, and I'm intrigued by that narrative style. So that is Mouth to Mouth. I'm quite intrigued to read the fact that this is like an author, a struggling author stuck at the airport. I'm intrigued to hear like the perspective of an author. Often I think when books are thinking about storytelling, are thinking about the act of writing, they have some really intriguing insights. So that's Mouth to Mouth. Before we get on to the next 4 books, I just wanted to let you know that today's video is kindly brought to you by my besties over at Squarespace. Squarespace is the go-to platform if you are looking to build a website or develop an online brand. It's very, very easy to get started because Squarespace has this amazing array of templates. There's so many great ones. And you can essentially use that as your starting point and then customize it, make it your own, add your logos, add your branding in, and let your personality or the personality of your brand shine through. And you know, if you are anything like me, the idea of having to code a website to make it good is just mind-boggling and baffling. Whereas Squarespace has basically done all the hard work for you. You can just start using a template. That's kind of how my online career started as well. That's how my online career started as well, so I'd highly recommend. You can also use the blogging feature if you want to share little insights into what you're up to, what you're doing, how you're developing products or ideas, and they also have great analytical tools too. So why would you not sign up? I don't know. But if you did need convincing, you can actually get a free trial over at squarespace.com, and then when you're ready to launch your website, you can head to squarespace.com/jackinthebooks, use the code jackinthebooks to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. You lucky sausage. So thank you so much, Squarespace, for working with me on this video, and now on to the next book. This is In Ordinary Times. In Ordinary Time, singular. This is by Carmel McMahon, and the subtitle is Fragments of a Family History. I need to take that sticker off, but it is signed by the author, so that is very cool. I find it funny when authors like cross out their name and then sign it. That feels like added effort. But sure, why not? These are essays basically written by someone who moved from Dublin to New York, and as someone who has moved here, I don't know, I thought that would be interesting to read about and kind of relatable too. Obviously, I'm not coming from Dublin, but I think the experience of moving here is a very specific one, and so I'm intrigued by how someone else has perceived that. Next, set in this city that never sleeps, or at least I'm not going to be sleeping because I'm going to be reading the whole time. From a blazing new talent comes the story of an upscale wedding planner grappling with her absent mother, her glittering career among New York's elite, and her Puerto Rican roots in the wake of Hurricane Maria. It's 2017 and Olga and her brother Pedro are bold-faced names in their hometown of New York. Pedro is a popular congressman representing their gentrifying Latinx neighborhood in Brooklyn, while Olga is the wedding planner for Manhattan's power brokers. So I think that's going to be an interesting study on like class dynamics in the city. And if I'm being totally honest and transparent with you, I was drawn to this because the cover is pretty much the view that I used to have from my building. The last building that I lived in was literally this exact view of New York. So I was like, well, I have to read that. Right now, I have to read that. And so this is the month that I'm going to do precisely that. Do you hear the sirens? Welcome to New York. It's been waiting for you. And then, because I am really focusing on writing my novel at the moment, I thought that in a moment of inspiration, I would read this. This is The Novelist by Jordan Castro, or a moment of lack of inspiration, I should say. A moment where I need inspiration. I thought that it would be nice to read the perspective of someone else who is writing a book and basically thinking about the joys of creating art. So in Jordan Castro's inventive, funny, and surprisingly tender first novel, we follow a young man over the course of a single morning as he tries and fails to write an autobiographical novel. I think that is going to be a fascinating little insight into the art of creating a book. The art of creating art, I guess. And then the final book that I really want to read in March before I head off to Japan and Korea and Taiwan at the end of the month, which I'm very, very excited about. And then next month, you'll notice that all of the books that I'm planning to read in those 30 days are all going to be very much set in Asia. So I'm hoping to read like Korean books in Korea, Japanese books in Japan, and so on and so forth, which I'm very, very excited about. And lots of cool videos are going to be coming. But for now, Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. From Booker Prize winning Douglas Stewart comes an extraordinary, powerful second novel, a vivid portrayal of working class life and the deeply moving story of the dangerous first love of two young men, Mungo and James. I'm gonna guess that's them. I loved Shuggy Bane by Douglas Stewart, as I've said before, and so I really wanted to read his second novel, and I just feel like this is going to break my heart. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next month. Let me know which books are on your TBR in the comment section down below. Now I'm going to head to the library because I want to get some writing done, and hopefully my book will end up one day on someone's like monthly TBR. How cool would that be? Anyways, that's what I'm up to. I hope that March is your month. I hope that great things happen to you this month and you get some good news that you've been waiting on. You can subscribe to this channel if you like. You can like the video if you like, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye!